U.S. I'm DJ Bean in Boston. Sean DePaz is here in Boston. Pete Blackburn is in Chicago, and it is What Chaos presented by Prize Picks. Hi, everybody. Hi, Pete.
Hello, David.
Can we get some juice? Thank you. How are you, Pete? How's Chicago?
It's fine. It's probably better than home. It's not snowing here. Is it snowing over there?
You know what I say about the weather in Boston?
It's weather.
No. If you don't like it now, get over yourself. What are you, fucking better than God? God makes the weather, and whiskey makes my baby a little frisky. It's the Bible says.
Incredible. I didn't watch yesterday's show with Megyn Kelly, but I can't imagine it started as good as this.
How did it start? It started, I'll be honest, I wasn't like nervous or anything, but it's just weird not having you. So I said no nicknames. This is Megan. It's the good Megyn Kelly, and then we were off.
I got some comments about me being a slacker. Got some comments about like, oh, why is he in Chicago for half these shows? I do some work in Chicago, and I wouldn't do it if I didn't have access to the CHGO studio. Like this studio is beautiful. The show, I feel like we still keep the same energy when I'm out here, so I don't feel bad about it. Get over yourself, listeners.
For sure. I mean, this will sound stupid because people have consumed stuff that we do together. There's nothing you and I can't do.
That's right.
Like if this were different people, and if I were doing a show with different people, I'd be like, I should want to be there every day and everything. Because when this first started, when we were first dreaming this show up, I was assuming I was going to be bi-coastal, and I was like, I'm going to be in LA half the time. Am I going to fucking ruin it? You've ended up in Chicago half the time. I haven't noticed the drop off, but I think it's only because it's me and you, and we got that magic.
That's right. That's right, baby. I also want to point out, I want to mention the Barstool free throw stream, because that has consumed so much of like my last 20 hours alive, and I can't believe it. I watched a bunch of strangers, mostly strangers, grown men, shooting free throws for hours at a time. And I was just like so riveted. And I went to bed last night. It was way later than I should have gone to bed. And I felt terrible about it. But I wanted to see if they could make 41 straight free throws. I woke up this morning, immediately checked the stream, saw that they were still going. I turned on the stream, and I literally did not see them miss a free throw. I watched them hit 41 straight this morning. I only saw the ones that they made in 41 straight. It was incredible. I just needed to throw that out there.
Yeah, so as I was trying to explain to Sean, you and I had a whole conversation about this on text. I brought up to Sean today, I was like, how about that Barstool thing? And he was like, what Barstool thing? This was in our group text. We had this conversation.
An underrated part of our group text is that it's like 95% me and you just having conversations and having no idea whether or not Sean is ignoring it or just like not aware of it happening.
I'm gonna let you speak for yourself, but I'll have thoughts after Sean.
No, I just don't. I like this is gonna sound really lame. I just like I have a lot going on my phone. Like I get texts from a lot of people. I have group chats that I'm in. So like a lot of times I'm just not looking at my texts because it's a lot of nonsense that I have nothing to do with.
No, that's
popular over here.
Yeah.
You know what? Once upon a time, Pete, I think if we were younger, if we were Sean's age, I like to think we'd be in the same fucking zone.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't have time for our bullshit.
As we've gotten older,
time for our bullshit now. It's all I have time for.
as we've got, I brought up recently, Pete, that like a couple of years ago, you made another friend, and like a year ago, I made another friend, and I was like, isn't it fucking wild now that we have we each have 2 friends now? This is amazing. When I was younger, I had so many friends, which is ridiculous.
It's
what was I gonna do with that?
Thing to
Then
do.
I met you, and
It's
I was
not
like,
even
one friend.
I don't even have friends. I just know a lot of people, and so like they'll be talking about stuff. And like, and in this case, like I'm not like I don't really consume a whole lot of Barstool stuff. So once I saw you talking about it, I'm just like, okay, I'd kind of check out.
I'll tell you what, I don't consume like a ton of Barstool stuff anymore, but if there's a challenge in which they're trying to do something ridiculous, if anybody has one of those challenges where they're trying to like, they're 8 hours deep and trying to do something, well, I'll poke in and see what that's about.
That's what, so Sean said, he was like, Barstool has truly made themselves into a sports team. It's so crazy. And I said, I end up checking out their shit that way, where like I watched that stream last night because you told us about it the way that you would say, hey, the Bruins and Canadians are going into overtime scoreless.
Yeah, exactly.
So that it was through a DraftKings thing. They had to hit 41 free throws in a row. I asked you why 41. You said, I don't know. You said that with the energy of quiet, I'm watching. Like
Right.
there's no time to think about this. So I threw it on, and same deal. Mercifully, was the internet kind of lagging for you, or was their feed kind of choppy at points?
No, it ran pretty smoothly for me.
Okay, so there was a couple of points where it was maybe a little choppy. It could have been on my end, and I was like, all right, I got to tap out now. I got to go to sleep. So fortunately, I missed it, but I woke up this morning and rewatched the ending of it. Insane stuff. We've got on the show today, I don't know if you know this, but we were in Vegas recently. We did a little content trip with not just Gene Principe, but the Vegas Golden Knights. Ever heard of them? And we got Adin Hill. He will be on the show today. We will air that interview. If there's one thing you should know about Adin Hill, it's he doesn't shut up about coffee.
That's right. He's obsessed.
We had to politely ask him, can you say anything that doesn't tie back to coffee? And he was like, sorry, tired, haven't had my... And we were like, would you stop? Adin. He's the league leader in save percentage. I've pointed that out a few times. Pete has said, well, it doesn't count because he doesn't play enough games. When I pointed that out to Adin Hill, he kind of gave the same energy. So it's going to be an interesting conversation coming up. But the interesting conversation of hockey these days, it just won't stop, is Morgan Rielly and his shenanigans tried to kill Ridly Grieg in front of all of his friends and was supposed to have an in-person hearing today, but breaking news per John Shannon, it's a little snowy out in New York. Oh, so it's going to be a virtual meeting. They're going to click onto Zoom. They're going to use Microsoft Teams. Oh, do you want to continue on your browser?
I want you to clarify that you're not doing an impression of John Shannon right now, because that is 1/3 of the greatest broadcast in the NHL. Don't you dare!
No, that's my John Shannon voice.
Great friend of Gene Principe and Bob Stover.
I am for sure blaming this all on John Shannon. If John Shannon, I'm going to type on my computer. I'm just kidding. I love John Shannon. No, I was saying that the NHL and mainly I'm blaming this on Morgan Rielly.
Yeah, well, you can't drive in the snow, little bitch.
Even though I was watching the Golden Knights feed last night because I was checking out the game. Shout out the Wild. They won. Played a good game. And something happened in that game that Sean pointed out kind of fucks up our purposes. We'll get to that a little later. It's a big-time tease. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about. But at intermission, Gary Lawless said he heard that Morgan Rielly requested the in-person hearing because they were like, how many games do you think he gets? And he was like, 3 max. And they were like, Gary, it's an in-person hearing. And he said, yeah. But I think he requested an in-person hearing so he could make this, so he could show he means business, basically. Make this impassioned case for himself, which Sean and I basically already did a show this morning about how absurd that is.
That
Go
can't
ahead,
be
Sean.
true, right? That cannot be true.
I mean, if it is true, it's simply the craziest thing I've ever heard, because he basically shot someone on national TV and was like, "Your Honor, but hear me out." It's like it doesn't matter. He could have like spit in your face. You cross check someone in the head on television. Like, what is that? It doesn't matter how much he deserved it. The fact of the matter is you committed the crime for everyone to see. So for him to get up there and be like, "But hear me out," is simply hilarious.
It's like if Jack Ruby suggested there was a second shooter. When like he did that shit in front of everybody.
Yeah, I mean, like it's more ridiculous to be like, I have to be in person to make this case, and then open up the door for a more severe punishment for himself in the process. Like if he wants to make his case, he can do that over Zoom.
Yeah, that's why I was
He can make
like,
a strong case. But if he
also-
shows up at the NHL's door, the opportunity for him to get suspended more games is opened up.
That's what I said to Sean. He makes this like impassioned case, which again, as Sean said, I don't really know what it could be. And then they're like, bet 7 games. That didn't need to happen.
Well, yeah, like, did he think they were just gonna like mute him on Zoom or something if they did it remotely? Like, I don't. And
It's
yeah,
like-
now he's gonna show up and they're gonna be like, "Ah, you're annoying. Here's an extra game."
It's like showing up to a trial with more evidence than the prosecuting team have gathered on you and presenting it to them and then being like, oh, yeah, thanks. You're making a better case for us to throw you in jail forever.
I really hope that's the case. And granted, it did the whole clip struck me a little bit as Gary Lawless wasn't positive that it was, didn't totally know that it was an in-person hearing. It was trying
Incredible
to cover his
spin
tracks.
if that's the case, though. If that's the case, Gary Lawless throwing that out there as like a spin on him not having all the information is the most incredible move I've ever seen.
I mean, I've covered people who got in-person hearings, and like your heart sinks when you get an in-person hearing. That sucks. You're in big trouble. You're going to lose a fucking ton of money. The idea that Morgan Rielly is like, I want to look him in the eye when I tell him that I did what I did in the name of the Toronto Maple Leafs. And they're like, 12 games, you fucking idiot. It's snowing. Why did you drag me here? God damn it. Someone leak this to Gary Lawless.
Every part of this whole saga has been the best.
I
It has
agree.
been the best. I was so upset that I missed yesterday's episode because it meant that I had to miss the initial discussion on this whole thing. And my feelings on this whole incident could not be more clear. I've not wavered once. I love Ridly Grieg or Greig. We'll talk
We're gonna
about
get to
that. Yeah, Ridly Grieg. I love him hammering the slapper into the empty net. I love Morgan Rielly's response. I don't necessarily love the cross check to the face, but I do like the response, and I love everybody getting in a fight over it for days at a time, and then having the drama around when was the last time we had this much drama around a hearing involving player safety? I mean, there's always people complaining and doing like the how many games thing, which we're not a hits podcast. We don't love doing that stuff. We don't like getting into the Department of Player Safety discourse. I'm absolutely willing to get into the discourse around the hearing here because it's so interesting.
There is so much potential content. I was texting you guys about it last night. No one got hurt here.
Thank God.
So-
Thank God.
thank
That would have
God.
spoiled everything.
Thank God. No one got hurt here. So like there is a lot of fun to be had with all this. And
Yes.
I'm not happy that a player reacted that way and cross-checked somebody in the head. But there's a lot to be done with this. Stay tuned. I think we're gonna end up having quite a bit of fun with this, if you don't mind. Shout out Ryan Reeves. I've loved the tweets I've seen about Ryan Reeves. Did you see the one that said Ryan Reeves in hypothetical situations?
No.
Because he always weighs in. He has to fucking Mark Wahlberg everything and
I
say, like,
know, dude.
If I was
That
on
is
the
such
ice,
a
that
perfect
wouldn't have
comparison.
happened.
if this happened
That
when
is-
I entered the league in 2010, If this happened when I entered the league, then blah blah. Like guy would have been, you would have fucking Max Kellerman rap voice, but bodies drop from body shots the way that
Andre Iguodala.
Yeah. I saw a tweet that said Ryan Reeves in hypothetical situations, and it was just like a Tom Brady hype video of him just like coming out to public service or public address announcement. What is it?
I mean, I love that Ryan Reeves is on the Toronto Maple Leafs, because now you get to make the joke like every time something happens involving the Leafs, like this never would have happened if Ryan Reeves was on the Leafs, which has been done for years and years and years and years. But now he's actually on the Leafs, and nothing's changing. So
am I sick? Am I sick for wanting to? And I don't want to pick on Ryan Reeves, but this would be an easy joke. Am I sick for wanting the Leafs to win the cup in like 5 years, so we could be like, this never would have happened if Ryan Reeves was on the Leafs?
It's a good joke, but I don't want it to happen.
Yeah, I don't either. That'd be a bridge too far. Like we've seen the Red Sox win, we've seen the Cubs win. The Leafs winning would be a little too. So the world is really over, huh?
Would you be cool if none of your favorite teams, won a championship for the rest of your life? If it meant that the Leafs never won a championship for the rest of your life, and you got to die with the Leafs on like the worst drought?
You're asking if this is an episode of Scrubs and I'm the janitor, would I eat the pie?
Correct.
Well, let's think of what my favorite teams are right now, Peter. You got the Los Angeles Chargers. You got the Edmonton Oilers. To a degree, you got the Boston Bruins. I'll tell you what, these aren't exactly teams that scream going to win titles to me. So I think that that's just going to happen anyway. So I might as well take the Leafs also not winning. But again, I don't think that I need to sign up for this kind of deal with the devil. I think that if we just leave it be, Leafs are probably fine to not win ever again.
That's fair. You don't want to do the Morgan. You don't want to do the Morgan Rielly, just like making a deal that you don't need to make and making things worse on yourself.
But one of my favorite things, I brought it up only for a second yesterday, but I liked the tweets that were like, maybe if Morgan Rielly skated a little faster. And it was like, he was like an acre ahead of him. Nobody hit, because like by the time Greig got the puck, he like let up, which
it was a turnover going the other way. Like it was nobody. Connor McDavid probably wasn't catching him.
No, I use that example. Connor McDavid definitely was not catching him. Nobody was catching him. It took Greig, who was way ahead of Morgan Rielly, forever to even catch up to it. So that was never happening. But the discourse has been amazing. As I said yesterday, loved the slap shot. Need more of it. Very fun. I like a Leafs player throwing a fit. I'm glad that nobody was hurt. I almost asked how many games you think he gets, but I really want to stick to the fact that we're not that podcast.
Agreed.
I think that I would like if it was like 40. They're like, there's one thing you don't do in this game, because a lot of people took it as like, well, he disrespected his opponent. He insulted him a little bit. You got to get cross-checked in the head. I like the idea of them making an example out of Morgan Rielly, where they're like, slapshot empty netters are not only okay, they're encouraged. Don't you touch a hair on that boy's head. You let him celebrate with his friends.
But the reason why, if we're getting really into this, the reason why slapshot empty netters are cool is because it's definitely going to result in everybody freaking out and being pissed over it. Like, slapshot empty netters won't be cool if they're standardized. I don't want that. I want slapshot empty netters if it means that you're going to get your lunch fed to you. Just do it in a way that doesn't involve you cross-checking a guy in the face. Then we're all good.
I said yesterday, I want every team that is up 1 goal on the Maple Leafs in a 5-on-6 situation to take a slap shot into the empty net. I want that to become a thing. The whole league, every time they intentionally like blow 2-goal lead, or like if they're up 3 goals, maybe they'll give up a goal to force them to think they're in it, pull their goalie, they can just rip a fucking slap-a-rooski. Just fucking knock Casper over.
I want to see somebody just do like a, like one of those like Michigan, you lift the puck up like lacrosse style, 3 spins, and then just fling it into the net like Swaggy P style, trick shot on a breakaway. I want to see somebody do that shit. and then see what happens.
Sean, what would you have done what would you do if you saw a player score an empty net Michigan?
Probably strip. Bare minimum.
Strip.
Like, I feel like that's just, you got to get naked for that. There's no other real response.
We talked about Sean's the part of Sean's brain that was activated when he saw Connor McDavid below the goal line and just immediately shouting out Michigan. If he ever did that on like a breakaway with an empty net and just shouted Michigan, I would lose my mind.
Players should for sure also shout Michigan as they're doing the Michigan.
Just like hitting a shot and yelling Kobe.
Yes.
Just be like, Michigan.
No element of surprise whatsoever. The goalie's like looking over his shoulders and he's like, what do you say? Oh.
First player to scream rain dance as they hit the breakaway towards an empty net and you can hear it on the broadcast wins the heart. That's my new rule.
Oh, well, it's fantastic stuff. We want more of it. Keeps taking slap shots into the empty net. It makes the world go round. You know what else makes the world go round? Prize Picks. I'll tell you what, we've been working with Prize Picks for, week and a half now? It's quite amazing.
They sent us to the Super Bowl.
What's that?
They sent us to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Nobody wanted a hockey podcast at the Super Bowl except Prize Picks. And Prize Picks made it happen, and the results spoke for themselves. That's why
I was going to say, Prize Picks, you should trust Prize Picks because they spend their money well. We crushed it out there. Did great numbers. Everyone's talking about us. Adin Hill's spitting out his coffee to join us. All because we went to the Super Bowl and killed it with Prize Picks. I find Prize Picks to be the easiest and most exciting way to turn every game-changing moment in sports into 100x your money. With as little as 4 correct picks, you can turn $10 into $1,000. I've said it before, I'll say it again. I ain't talking about a hyper pop musical duo when I say that I 100x. It's all I do on Prize Picks. And they say, is that 100 gex? And I say, it's not as good when you have to explain the jokes. Prize Picks is very simple to play. I can make my picks and submit my entry in less than 60 seconds. Quick withdrawals, easy gameplay, and an enormous selection of players and stat types are what make Prize Picks the #1 daily fantasy sports app. So go to prizepicks.com/whatchaos and use code whatchaos for a first deposit match up to $100. That's prizepicks.com/whatchaos and use code whatchaos. Daily fantasy sports made easy. Here is Vegas Golden Knights Stanley Cup winning goaltender Adin Hill. Here with Stanley Cup champion Adin Hill. Adin, you spent your day with the cup. You brought it to the mayor's office at your hometown. How important is it to bring politics into hockey?
I think it kind of should sort of stay out of hockey, but I mean, it's a sport. But yeah, just do a good deed for the community, and I brought it to a couple police stations and stuff too. So just cool to, I don't know, it's kind of crazy how much energy the Stanley Cup has around it. You bring it to a building in Canada and the whole place lights up. So it was pretty cool to see.
There's something about just like plopping down the Stanley Cup near a bunch of people. And especially like kids are, maybe just because it's a shiny thing, but I truly think it's just like one of those, like it doesn't need to be explained to you. They don't need to say that's the Stanley Cup. People freak the fuck out over that. What was it like winning it, getting it when months earlier you couldn't have seen that coming?
Yeah, no, I mean, I was pretty excited the day I kind of got traded to Vegas. I mean, kind of sucks when you get traded from a team and it's out of the blue, but kind of looked at it with optimism, knowing that we had a good roster here and looked a lot better than the Sharks did at the time. So I was excited, and yeah, I mean, everything kind of worked out. So it was pretty wild at the end of it. You play street hockey every day, kind of growing up, like you're in the backyard thinking that you're scoring that Game 7 overtime goal, right? So to actually be able to win the cup and lift it above your head, I mean, yeah, dream come true, and it kind of all comes down on you at once. It's pretty surreal.
How much of a blur has the last year and a half been for you? You get traded, you back up, then you're injected into the starting lineup in the playoffs, you win the cup, you get a new contract. How much reflection have you had on these past couple of years, and how much has changed?
Yeah, I mean, I've always had kind of belief in myself that I could try and be a top goalie in this league, and I I think just kind of having that faith in yourself and keeping your head down, putting the work in. I mean, it eventually, this last year, it's paid off a bit. So it's been fun. I want to do more, obviously. I'm not done yet, but no, it's been exciting. And I haven't had a ton of time to reflect. Summer went by pretty quick. You get the cup, you get your day. You kind of get home, get settled, but then you got to go back to camp, right? So, yeah, not the most time to reflect on it, but just trying to enjoy every moment best I can.
You had an awesome first half of the season. So between that and the cup final and everything and the run to the cup, everybody at some point by now has had the holy shit, Adin Hill is sick realization. You said you've always believed in yourself, but do you feel that all this experience that like you've gotten better at hockey over this stretch?
Oh yeah, for sure. I have no doubt that I've gotten better. I felt like last year, kind of halfway through the regular season, I got hurt there the second half, which sucked, and trying to come back from that injury. But felt like right before I got hurt there, I kind of gained some traction. I think I found my game. I figured it out a bit in a way. I don't know, not that you'll figure it out all at once, but it felt like everything just kind of came together. So kind of had that moment last year. I'd say it was maybe like in February. So then after that, I felt pretty strong, confident about my game. And then, yeah, playoffs was, don't think, just get in there and stop the puck. So, it was pretty cool.
But I was going to say, like, when Brossoit went down, what was going through? Was there any level of panic where you're like, oh, shit, this is in my time now?
For a second, maybe. But then you're just kind of like, okay, make that first save, right? Like, where we were in Edmonton, the whole building's chanting, and yeah, they see Brossoit get hurt. You're like, oh well, I'll get my gloves. So yeah, it's tough to see a teammate go down like that, especially like LB was playing really well at the time, and yeah, he had a great stretch for us there. So hard to see, but you kind of got to put that in the rearview mirror and focus on the game.
Well, you did have to come in and face Edmonton in Edmonton, and I mean, obviously they were coming off a good series. In like a horror movie, if early on, if like someone survives an attack or whatever, like, okay, well, that person's going to live the whole time. If they didn't fucking die, then they're going to make it the whole way. Once you won that game, I was like, I mean, everybody thought the Panthers were a team of destiny and everything. But after getting through that game, I think there was a real sense around Vegas with like, well, shit, Vegas might be winning the cup now. Did you feel like once you'd gotten past Edmonton of, if I can survive Draisaitl, McDavid, Hyman, all these guys, then like I'm clearly in some sort of zone here and can do this?
Yeah, I mean, I've always kind of liked like my whole childhood and everything. I've always kind of liked the big moments, the big games, like when you're playing for the championship of a tournament, whether it be a small tournament, big tournament, whatever. I always like those games, or the games where you're kind of considered an underdog, right? I've gone into Edmonton series, people did, but not many people picked us. Mm-hmm. And then going into Dallas again, like I saw like tweets and whatever, but nobody was picking us. And then in the finals, everybody was saying Florida. So kind of cool to like be the underdogs and go into those scenarios. But at the end of the day, like our team, I don't know, we had no point of weakness last year, right? So I feel like we've kind of shown that a bit again this year. We've had some injuries in that, but just kind of fun to prove it wrong in a way.
Especially when like the weak point for your team last year was supposed to be goaltending. Yeah. Like, everybody was like, I don't know if they have the goaltending. So how nice was it to be like, shut the fuck up, we do.
Yeah, no, it's fun. So, I mean, a lot of hockey, I mean, for a defenseman, for a forward, if you're the 13th guy on a team just out of the lineup, a lot of it is opportunity, right? Mm-hmm. So everybody who dresses and puts on an NHL uniform is a great player. So it's a lot of it's just about opportunity, playing on that first power play and that. But there's definitely the elite guys that separate themselves. But yeah, everyone's a good player.
Speaking of which, I want to ask you, who do you think the best Canadian goalie is right now?
Best Canadian right now? I mean, there's a few guys. Canada's kind of in a weird spot, right?
Right.
So we had, for years when I was growing up, it was you had the Waugh, then you had Brodeur, you had Luongo, you had Fleury, you had Price, you had Holtby, you had all these big names. Right now, I feel like Canada, like we got a lot of good goalies, but we don't have a clear guy. Mm-hmm. I'd say, right? Like there's not like one guy that you'd be like, okay, he's Canada's starter. Mm-hmm. So we'll see. I mean, it'll be interesting.
Sounds like Adin Hill was his answer. What does the date November 9th, 2021 mean to you?
November 9th, 2021.
You had such a fucking sick offensive game.
Oh, Calgary?
2 primaries, bud. You had 2 primary helpers. None of this hockey shit.
Calgary,
shit. When you get an assist, when you're watching the rest of the play develop, obviously it's the other end of the ice, but like, no one else touches the puck. They score. You're like,
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, you got a little jab in there. So there's lots of times too. You make a pass, you get a 2-on-1, you're like bury it, guy hits post, you're like, fuck.
Yeah, I was gonna ask that.
Wanted that one, but actually that Calgary game, I remember like Calgary's my hometown, right? So I'm playing in front of a lot of friends and family, so it's always fun to go back to Calgary. But yeah, in Calgary that game, I had the 2 assists. I think both were just kind of setting it up behind the net for my D-man, and they kind of did the rest, so worked out. But I thought I should have had a shutout that game. The 1 goal they got on me, I thought I was interfered with, but we did a coach's challenge, and you know how that goes. It seems to be 50-50. So I felt like my pad got pushed into the net, and then they buried the puck, and I couldn't do anything. And then also on the empty net goal in that game, I almost had my 3rd assist. So on the empty net, I set the puck, I passed it, I think it was to Burns, and Burns had it. A forechecker came, touched the puck for like 1 second. Burns got it back, shot on the empty net. So if whoever the forechecker was there, if he didn't touch it, I'd have had 3 assists, which would have been pretty cool.
What an asshole.
But, yeah.
God
dick,
damn.
eh?
More and more goalies are shooting, going for it,
Yeah.
scoring. I feel like that's already played out now, but with you being an assist man, have you considered going for like a goalie hat trick where you get an assist early on, piss somebody off, get in a fight, and then just make sure you allow enough goals to keep it close?
I mean, if you're a goalie and you get in a fight, you're out of the game. So I think you got to get the assist. You got to go for the goal. And then if you have a goal and assist, you just got to square up at center ice with someone.
Celebrate by fight, do like a Max Pacioretty, celebrate by being like, that's what I thought, bitch.
Maybe do the fly by your bench and then grab somebody on their bench, and there you go.
This is good. You're gonna have incredible stats. You're gonna be kicked out of the league in like 2 years, but you're gonna have some bonkers stats lines. Your hat says, "Don't be a dick."
Yeah.
Why not?
Honestly, this had met a guy. Actually, it was before I played for Vegas, but gambling here in Vegas, and he opened up a coffee shop. So it's called La La Land Cafe, and there's a few in LA, a couple in Texas, but yeah, it's a cool company motto. I've kind of followed his Instagram page in that sense, and I just went there last week. So the company, every employee they hire is like out of the orphanage system. So pretty cool kind of idea. So yeah, I thought I'd support out the company a bit and grab a hat.
We do know you're
what's
coffee head.
What's the deal with your coffee obsession?
Not an obsession.
Oh, you're
I
fucking
just-
obsessed. You can't stop
No,
looking
no.
at your coffee tattoo, dude.
Imagine just nice coffee beans.
We are very good at Photoshop. You're gonna have a coffee tattoo during this.
Gonna have a
See it on your
teardrop of
mask.
coffee beans.
That's incredible.
No, I like my coffee, but I've just noticed a big taste difference in it. So I use paper filters and that, and it takes me like 5 minutes to make coffee. It's a little longer of a process, but I enjoy it, and I just find the taste is that much better.
I was told to ask, what are your thoughts on All of a Sudden by Lil Pump?
It's a great song, you know? If you want to get the boys going before beer pong or something, great song.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nothing more to that story.
We'll leave that out of it.
He ghost wrote it. He's a musician.
Yes.
Yeah, I think we had one day where we played the song probably 1,000 times, so that's why.
God. Well, Adin Hill, we really appreciate you joining us. You've been such an awesome story, and also, not to get into snub talk, massive all-star snub. Massive all-star snub.
I didn't play enough games.
You shut up. You played enough games. You played enough games.
Yeah.
Is that? Did they do like were you like not eligible or something?
I don't know. I didn't talk to anyone. I don't know anything. But I mean, the other guys that went, they all had 30 plus games. I was at maybe 15 or so when they made the selection. So yeah, completely understandable.
I don't think you should just get credit for showing up to work. I think you should get credit for showing up to work and doing well.
Doing a
I guess,
great
fair
job.
enough.
Yeah, Lauryn Hill, one album, and it's considered one of the greatest. She's considered one of the great artists ever. She has one solo album. As long as you show up and fucking bring it, then you're golden.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Adin. This was a fun conversation.
Yeah.
Was it not?
Yeah, it was good.
It was very good.
Excited to
Awesome.
see those tattoos.
Yeah, thanks. Appreciate it.
Oh, love him.
Yeah. Is he the first player that you've told to shut up in the middle of an interview? Shut up.
I don't think so. Probably doesn't. I don't think
I feel
so.
like it probably isn't.
Yeah,
Probably
I mean, you
not.
call that Infantilli a nerd to his face. So
that is true. A dorko.
a dork.
Or go, yeah. That's
Yeah,
true. That may as well be shut up.
No, but it was a nice shut up. It was like a hey, go easy on my pal Aiden.
We only had 10 minutes with him, which is why the interview was so short. But man, I would have loved to spend like an hour with that guy. I feel like we could have gone to some really weird places. Would love to sit down with him again. Absolutely, a lot of places that we didn't go, but vibes off the charts. Heard a lot of great things about him as a dude before we sat down. Definitely confirmed within those 10 minutes.
Who else is getting that out of him in 10 minutes?
I know. That's what I just mean that I wanted more time with them.
Respect.
Oh.
Respect our outrageous interviewing prowess.
Most people probably are not even like letting him wear his hat in an interview. Just
don't be a dick.
Yeah.
Like they probably like take the hat off.
Honestly, both guys that we sat down with in Vegas, Cassidy and Hill, I could have talked to all day long about completely different things. I wanted to talk all day with Cassidy just about hockey because he was so deep into his like breakdowns. He was great. And that's like the first time I've ever come away from one of these conversations feeling like, man, we talked a lot of hockey, but I wanted to talk more. And the Adin Hill stuff, I was like, I just want to be friends with this guy and talk with him and chit chat for 8 hours.
One thing we need to get to the bottom of off of this Morgan Rielly, Ridly Grieg stuff is you sent a thing yesterday when you did the Pete's takes and you gave all your takes on everything. And
did I get played in yesterday's episode?
They did.
Okay, great.
And they were animated. You didn't see this?
No, I didn't see it.
Oh, no, I did the thing where your mouth moves. You know that thing?
Love that. Thank you.
And it was great. And when you sent to me, you said, I loved the Ridly Grieg goal, but blah, blah. And I was like, do I have him redo it? And I was like, whatever. I'll just play it and then make fun of him when we play it. So we played it. And Megan was like, oh, who's Ridly Grieg? And I was like, oh, yeah, it's Grieg. And we had a good laugh. We talked about, hey, you know who doesn't know how to say Ridly Grieg's name is Pete. And then when we put the clip out of us talking about it, you said, hey, just a heads up, I think it's Ridly Grieg. We're like, oh, boy. Who's right, who's wrong here? Because we both are doing the oh, honey thing to each other. I know it to be Ridly Grieg because I'm an effusive pronunciation guide checker. And both the NHL pronunciation guide, which is always bang on, and Hockey Reference, which I think uses the pronunciation guide, has Ridly Grieg. As you noted, a lot of our neighbors to the north have been saying Ridly Grieg. Gary Lawless last night said Ridly Grieg. I don't know if that helps me or hurts me based on his Morgan Rielly conjecture.
The other things that he said.
But the question is now begged, did Ridly G take a slap shot just so people would learn his name?
I mean, if he did, it was ineffective because we're still having the debate.
But he started a conversation.
Yeah, that's true. He did start a conversation. You were the first person I ever heard call him Ridly Grieg. I was so sure that you were wrong. And then you sent the pronunciation guide, and then I was totally unsure. And I'm still totally unsure because every clip, I did some research yesterday, looked up some Ridly Grieg highlights, listened to like every podcast, every panel, Hockey Night in Canada, every single panel and podcast highlight package called him Ridly Grieg.
What
so
doesn't
I have
help
no
is,
idea.
What doesn't help is you're like, well, the broadcast called him Ridly Grieg. And I was like, oh, weird. The broadcast I saw called him Ridly Grieg. We sent each other the same link of the same broadcast that clearly says Sean Ridly Grieg.
Greg, I was going to say you somehow were both wrong. Based on that one clip.
But that's
the only person an example that we can say for sure is wrong because it's neither of the two things.
But Grieg for sure allows you to hear it how you want.
Yeah,
because you saw that and you were like, he says Greg. I saw that and I was like, he says Grieg. Fortunately, there was a third party there who happened to be checking his texts at that moment. Lucky us, who was like, guys, he's saying Grieg.
I mean, yeah, in that one clip I heard Greg, which to me is definitely closer to Greg than Grieg. But as I also pointed out in our text thread, Canadians don't do anything right. They spell everything wrong. They mispronounce things. So I'm not like, you got to hear it from Ridly himself, who, by the way, this is not his fault, also spells Ridley in the weirdest way possible. There should be.
Well, I was gonna say the Morgan Rielly Ridly G saga is a matchup of two of the most annoying names in hockey.
Absolute
Morgan
nightmare.
Rielly spelling with the I before E is so annoying.
Somehow writing the headline yesterday, I messed up. Well, not somehow, because Riley is
Somehow,
my name,
not
so-
somehow. Like you have a brain.
Yeah,
And
I tried using it, and it said no.
So, do we put out a social clip of this saying the Ridly Grieg controversy of this week?
yes.
We need answers from Ridly Grieg. Greg.
My idea is that we wait until the player safety video comes out, and it'll not only determine how long Morgan Rielly is sitting out, it'll also determine the pronunciation of Ridly Grieg's name. Because however they pronounce it in the video, we will determine as fact and move forward with that pronunciation.
I don't know if we trust the Department of Player Safety. They're all over the place, bruv.
They become the authority there?
We gotta have a determination somehow, and everybody's all over the place. May as well just go with the Department of Player Safety.
Do either of you know anybody in Ottawa that could just be like, hey, how do you pronounce, like ask him how he pronounces his name?
Hold it. Do I call, hold on a second. I'm going to call Bruce Garriock.
Please do. That would be incredible.
All right. I'm calling him now.
You got to ask him to ask Greg, though. We need confirmation from the actual source. I can relate to this as somebody whose name consistently gets mispronounced. Last name consistently gets mispronounced.
Bruce did not answer. I have not spoken to Bruce in like 12 years. So
he's
maybe
probably like, what the fuck?
That's why. And he got a phone call from me. And if he answered, I was going to be like, hey, it's an emergency. How do you say Ridly Grieg's name? Please.
Is anybody in the chat? Does anybody in the
calling.
chat?
Hold on.
Okay.
Hey, Bruce, how are you? This is so random. I'm in the middle of my show, and there is a lot of hubbub about the pronunciation of Ridly Grieg or Grieg's last name. I'm going to quickly put you on speaker. How do you pronounce his last name?
Greg.
Fuck.
Yes.
Fuck. Okay.
Have a good one.
All right, love you. Talk later. Bye.
Score one for the good guys, baby.
That was crazy. Fuck.
Just Greg. Fuck.
There was no like, what?
No, how you doing, pal? Like, good to talk to you. First of all, thanks for having me on the show. Just Greg. Nice.
All right.
Well, that's the end of that clip.
That still, by the way, that still doesn't do it for me, because that means the NHL and everyone, like anyone with an official documentation of it, is wrong. I need to hear, like, someone needs to record video of Ridly saying his last name.
Yeah. So that's what Jack Edwards does. He goes up to every player with his phone and says, like, can you just please say your name into the phone? And I remember
that.
I saw that as a young reporter, and I was like, that's how I'm going to do shit.
That, like, one of my favorite things ever, is going to be very specific, but Syracuse basketball, they put out a video where they went around to every single player and asked them to say their name, because we had like players from Africa, players from Slovakia, and I've especially in a league like the NHL where everyone's from Europe, I feel like that's something, even though we're talking about a Canadian kid, that's what, like, we need that.
Well, do you know that to be continued? The weather in Boston is a little frightful, Peter, and
Yeah.
the Boston Bruins play the Tampa Lightning tonight. Those boys from the Bay, from the Bay Area, they're gonna be warriors on the ice tonight, like the Golden Knights. There's going to be a bad guy and everything. But because the weather is such, pardon my French, such shit, who knows how cheap these tickets are going to be? I'm considering going. I'm monitoring. And you know where I'm monitoring? Game Time. Because Game Time, they're them. There's been so many times I've had frustrating ticket purchasing experiences, and those all ended when I got on Game Time. As Megan said on the show yesterday, it's the layout for me. It's the app for me. I'm pulling up right now. Let's see.
Cheapest tickets I've seen the Bruins have since I've moved here by a lot.
$35 get in.
Wow.
By a lot.
Wow.
Sean, are we going to see Stammer, Michigan tonight, or are we going to see Stammer, Michigan tonight?
Are we going to see Nikita Kucherov try at hockey?
What? Oh, now I actually kind of do.
Because the only time I've seen him live, he wasn't trying.
Oh man, look at some of these. Oh, you got flash deals. It's amazing. And this is the type of experience you can only have on Game Time. It's got that awesome layout. You got zone deals. You could do a section where Game Time picks the seats for an average of 18% savings. And the Game Time guarantee means you'll always get the best price. If you find tickets in the same section and row for less, good luck doing that tonight with what I'm seeing on Game Time. Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code CHAOS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CHAOS for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. Could you believe Bruce did me like that?
My last note on the Ridly Grieg situation is I think that he's ruined empty net goals for everybody in the NHL, like for everybody else, because now if a guy gets an empty net opportunity on a breakaway and doesn't take a slap shot, I'm gonna call him a pussy. I'm just like, wow, what a pussy. And if what?
No, I was just gonna fight back and say that I think he's done empty net goals a massive service, because now if you want your empty net goal to be worth shit, you got to do some cool shit to it, and B, I think it has relegated actual empty nets to its like rightful place as being kind of worthless.
I don't necessarily agree with that, but I'm going to call any player that doesn't take a slapper or do something cool with an empty net a pussy. And if they do that, like they're going to get their asses kicked, as we discussed earlier. So now if a player gets like a breakaway towards an empty net, they have a real tough decision to make for their reputation and for their health.
So what I want to see, if there's another one of those plays like that where the puck is way ahead of them too, as they're going up to the puck, I want them to take their stick and be like, whew, whew, whew. Like did you have devil sticks when you were a kid?
What sticks?
Devil sticks. They're the thing that you have two sticks, and then there is a stick with like sandpaper in the middle, and you go like that with them, and you could throw it up in the air, do all sorts of tricks. Shit like that.
I had like like the beach things, like they're like the tennis rackets, and you throw the tennis ball and it sticks to it. That's not what you're talking about here, is it?
It isn't, but maybe they could work those in. I think that could be really fun. I know you're not allowed to play with a broken stick, but maybe like as you're going up to it, break the stick over your knee and then like push it in with your hand, kick it, do something.
If you just gave it a nice little, like if Greig had just poked at it a little bit before it was even in the net, just broke his stick over his knee and just threw the shit. Not playing the puck with a broken stick, but just like pimped it.
Pimp it.
Here's my idea. Stash a comically oversized stick on the bench, and as the puck's sliding down the ice, skate to the bench, swap sticks, get the comically oversized one, and do whatever you want with it. Imagine just like a 40-foot stick and a guy skating down. That would be incredible.
What idea did we recently have where we were going to use comically oversized sticks? Do you remember?
No, but that was an idea.
Fuck. Oh, I know what it was. And it led to a better idea that we're for sure going to do. Here's the thing. Okay. I knew this was going to happen. I was like, eventually we're going to start making fucking cool videos, and that's going to be the best thing we do. Not the best thing we do, but like, that's going to be the stuff that's going to get the eyeballs. That's going to be the stuff that's going to fucking bring all the hot mamas around. And
that's right.
Then we're going to be like, fuck, we're just going to spend the whole show spitballing ridiculous video ideas. But this has been a very good show today.
I agree. Happy to be back, buddy.
Yeah. I mean, Pete in Chicago.
Before we get out of here, though, sorry.
Oh, you have to get out soon?
In 10 minutes. But I do want to say I want to talk about Fanatics real quick, because there was a tweet sent out today by UniWatch comparing last year's Seattle Mariners jerseys to the quality of this year's Seattle Mariners jerseys. And if you didn't know, Fanatics produces, they're Nike branded, but Fanatics produces MLB's on-field jerseys. And if that one on the right there is an actual like game-worn authentic jersey, that is a disgrace. Absolute disgrace. It's clearly like screen printed.
It looks like a jersey.
So fucking cheap. The materials look awful.
Also, the placement of the MLB logo, it really upsets me.
Yes.
Yeah.
I have to think and pray that this isn't like an on-field product. But even if it is an authentic product, even if it's a replica product that fans buy, why would anybody buy that? That is atrocious.
Yeah, we got football jerseys as part of a promotion from Fanatics, and even for like quote unquote replicas, I'll never wear the Cameron Dicker jersey that I got. I wore it one time to like a bar, and I was embarrassed to be wearing it because it was so. Yeah. It's like, as you said, Sean, it's like a jersey, but for some reason it feels cheaper than just wearing a t-shirt.
Agreed. Yeah, because at least a t-shirt is supposed to be cheap.
Yeah, right. Like you're making the conscious decision to go like a tier below a jersey by wearing a t-shirt. By wearing a jersey that isn't good quality, you're basically saying that you're poor and you are an idiot who doesn't care what you look like.
I mean, I'll tell you right now, I would have been wearing a whole lot of Fanatic stuff as a kid because I grew up very poor. I think conspiracy theory, they're just doing this so you're kind of forced to spend more money on the good jerseys. Like,
no, but even the good jersey, like that's what I'm saying. If that's the authentic
that's supposed to be the good one.
I have a hard time believing that's actually because like we see it with the NHL. You can buy the shitty Fanatics ones or you can buy the authentic ones. There's no way. Like players will throw a fit if that's what their jerseys. Not even just based off the look, but having the screen printed numbers on the back would suck. I have a hard time believing that's actually going to be like that's an actual replica of the on-field product.
So here's what I'll say. Like the reason that I bring this up is because Fanatics is taking over it's taking over the official jerseys, the game worn jerseys for the NHL next year, and the official merchandise. I will say the drop off from Adidas to Fanatics right now is not that significant. Like I do and will wear Fanatics branded NHL jerseys if they stay the same quality that they are right now, because it's not embarrassing. You can tell like it's not the same as the official. It's not supposed to be, but it's not embarrassing and it's pretty decent quality.
Yeah, I mean, your Flames one is awesome. Your Goat Head one is awesome. Those are very wearable. I've got a Madonna one that is, I think, like kind of technically Mitchell and Ness or whatever, but it's very like Fanatics-y, and it's fine. It's not the degree of stuff that we're talking about here, like the super, super low quality. So if they keep it like that, then yeah, that's wearable. I got this rug. What's
my
that?
My concern is that if they, like to Sean's point, if they own both, they have no incentive to make the cheaper ones like a real option.
Yeah.
Because if they own both and they force you to pay more money, that's a savvy move. And that's why I assume that they're going after the official on ice product and the official merchandise, because it allows them to then take the cheaper ones and be like, well, good luck buying and wearing these, you idiot. You're going to look like a moron.
Okay, well, we do have a good update for Connor Bedard because he is close to a return, expected to be cleared Monday medically. Luke Richardson said he'd need a few practices and would wear a face shield upon returning to game action. And that news could not come soon enough because with 2 assists in the Wild's win over the Knights last night, Brock Faber is up to 33 points. The significance of that? It ties him with Connor Bedard for the rookie lead. It would appear, Sean's been monitoring this very well, that Connor Bedard will at some point lose his lead on rookies in points, which makes me sad.
I will argue though that it can come soon enough because there are 2 Blackhawks games here in Chicago this week, and I will not see Connor Bedard in either of them.
Are you going to go to either of them?
I don't know. I'm undecided. I'm definitely not going to go tonight because there's a lot of good hockey on. And speaking of things that have been monitored well, congratulations, Sean, on keeping track of the rookie points lead. I have not done a good job of keeping track of the chaos chain.
I was waiting for this to happen because no, you have not.
Wait, so are you pushing back against the team that I think has it? Because I went back and I did some. All right, so I thought the Washington Capitals had it. While we were gone on our trips in Toronto and Vegas, I lost track of the chaos chain, and then I went back and I did some math, if you want to call it math, and I deducted who would be holding it right now. I ended up on the Washington Capitals, but to make your case.
Well, my case is that the Washington Capitals have lost their last game, so there's no chance that they could have.
That's a great point.
It's a bit of a
they lost on,
really
so
good
I don't
point.
know when you checked. They lost on Sunday in overtime to the Canucks. I don't know if that means the Canucks have it now or if there was just a miscalculation somewhere else.
No, so I think that the Canucks have it now. So I must not have gotten caught up because I think that the Capitals took it from the Bruins on Saturday.
Okay,
and that's when I did the math to catch up.
Okay. So then now it is the
Vancouver Canucks hold it now.
Okay, yeah, because on the ticker I put who knows anymore because we apparently didn't. But let's see. Do you know when the Canucks play next?
The Canucks play tonight against the Chicago Blackhawks, which now makes me want to go to the Chicago Blackhawks game.
Oh, now you have to go.
My Chicago Blackhawks. My that is the Blackhawks are one of my 4 teams. I don't know how many teams
are they really
at this point. So let's go.
So
Blackhawks.
the only thing that I'm happy about when we lost track is that none of our teams claimed it in any of those periods of time.
Cool.
So you have an opportunity to hold it tonight. You're the only person that's held
the
chaos chain yet.
I think so, yeah. Listen, and that means I would also get the Canucks, right?
Oh,
no, you only get. Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
No, because you have to hold it and beat a team to acquire that team. They wouldn't be holding it when they beat the Canucks because the Canucks are holding it.
That's true. That's a good rule.
But no, because I got the Seattle Kraken. I got given the Kraken after the Penguins beat the Kraken. Like I have the Kraken flag right here. I know for a fact I got given the Kraken.
Possession is 9/10 of the law.
It is on the board as well. So I think these rules mean nothing.
Hey, don't you say that, Sean.
The rules mean everything.
Since,
we just have no idea what they are.
Since we did it the first time, you can have the Canucks. But I think moving forward.
I mean,
after
no, we
this
can.
time,
I don't want your handouts. Like if that's the rule now, then that's the rule. I just saying. I don't think.
All
that
right, fine.
was
Yeah,
always
we're
the
making
rule.
up the rules as we go. You don't get the Canucks.
Okay,
You only get the teams that you beat when you're actually holding.
Okay, that's completely fine.
Congratulations on your free Seattle Kraken. You can have that one. That one's on the house, but you have to be holding the chain and then to acquire teams that you beat.
This is by far the best hockey show.
I was going to say, someone in the chat just said that
Absolutely.
I have a better understanding of who killed Kennedy than I do the Chaos Chain, which I love.
There's
Yeah, it was
fantastic.
the FBI.
Yeah, well, they said the mob. Who knows?
I have some stars I got to dole out because I watched the Beanpot final, the men's Beanpot final last night, and Northeastern senior Gunnarwolfe Fontaine scored the game winner in overtime to give Northeastern the Beanpot sweep and 5 of the last 6 men's Beanpot titles, which if you are from Boston or follow college hockey, it is crazy that Northeastern has just become the Beanpot team. Wild shit, but not more wild than the fact that there is somebody named Gunnarwolfe Fontaine who is apparently good at hockey and did not get drafted until the 7th round by the Nashville Predators. I tweeted this last night. Every NHL team better fucking pray this kid's got some shit knees or something and does not become good, because if there is an NHL player named Gunnarwolfe Fontaine and you passed over him 6-7 times, fired. Fucking fired.
Agreed. I mean, I don't care how seriously you take your job. If you work in an NHL front office, if you hit the 5th or 6th round at the latest, and there's a guy named Gunnarwolfe Fontaine on the board, you have to be bored enough to be like, got to take that guy. We're all just throwing we're throwing blindfolded darts at a dartboard by the 5th or 6th round. Just take the guy named Gunnarwolfe. Nothing bad can happen to you.
I firmly believe that hockey and all sports need to start doing the soccer thing where you just put like your first name or your nickname on your jersey. Because if like there was a real life Gunnarwolfe jersey, I'm buying every single one.
Yeah. I mean, Gunnarwolfe is basically Beowulf.
It's the hardest name of all. I mean, I need to meet his parents. Like, I want to know what the deal is there, but that is the hardest name of all time.
So I'm looking at my texts with Megan during the game last night, and we're just saying, like, this guy fucking rules. And she says, imagine getting beaten by a guy named Gunnarwolfe. That's his first fucking name. I said, like, he's got a whole rest of the name after that. She said, that boy's name is just getting started. To which I replied, you need 2 tickets to the gun show just to get to the wolf part.
You want to hear the craziest thing? According to Elite Prospects, he has 2 siblings, sisters Alex and Skylar.
Oh,
what the fuck?
They must be bullshit.
That's like me. My name is Eric. My first name is Eric. My sisters are Alana and Delaney. How the fuck did I get the most boring name of all time when my sisters have unique names? Like, this is, I guess, the opposite, where he has the coolest name ever, and then he has to introduce Alex and Skylar, who I'm sure are wonderful people, but their names don't hold a candle to Gunnarwolfe.
Yeah.
Damn.
You got to name your other kids like Speed Demon Fontaine or some shit like that.
Just like make their last name different, even.
Yeah, just no relation.
Just like
I will
this
say,
used up all our cards.
Alex, again, this is all just according to Elite Prospects, does have a hyphenated last name. So her name is Alex Tancrell Fontaine, which hits a little harder, I guess. But Skylar is just Skylar Fontaine,
like,
which is a great name. It's just not Gunnarwolfe.
It's got to be like Gunnarwolfe Fontaine, Christopher the Tarantula is just like that's that person's name, and then like Ridly Grieg is the third one. They're like, oh, like that player Ridly Grieg? No, this is a crazy last name. It's Grieg.
Different guy.
Yeah, totally different guy. Oh my goodness. Okay, well, productive time. We will be back tomorrow. By the time this show is done, kind of, by the time you're listening to it, if you're listening to it on demand or anything on Spotify, we have all of the Pro Shop Wars on YouTube in the back end. We're going to hit publish. So all of the Pro Shop Wars will be on YouTube in nice horizontal 1920 by 1080. Beautiful stuff.
Are you burying a lead there?
What, that there's another one? What are we burying?
You said all the Pro Shop Wars.
Yeah. What about him?
No, I'm just saying. I didn't know if you...
Yeah, I can see what's happening.
You thought that I was suggesting that the Columbus Pro Shop Wars could be surfacing. I'm not suggesting that. I'd love to be suggesting that. Maybe at some point. The search is ongoing. I will never give up hope. I'm going to... I'm like... I'm like shaking in my home each night, drinking tea, being like, it's out there somewhere.
It hasn't left.
Somebody somewhere has, some stranger has the Columbus Pro Shop Wars and is like just deciding what to do with it. They're shopping it around.
And it's funny. It's wild that didn't strike me. It did strike the chat. People were saying, all of them, DJ?
Oh, really? Good. I'm glad I'm not the only one that had that thought.
All-time day for the chat, by the way, was cracking up at some of them. The person that said, we don't want hit chat, we want chit chat. I love that, A, because it's a fun chit chat reference, but also because we do not talk about hits.
Yeah, put it on a shirt.
I actually have a chit chat shirt coming that is fucking flames.
Wow.
Is it literally flames? People are asking the question. Can't wait till you see it. All right. Love ya. Talk tomorrow. Bye-bye.
We all silly like the mayor.